What's up, everyone? All right, so here we are, end of June. It's been a crazy month. Some big ups, some big downs. Finishing the month with another $2,000 of profit. Today is the 118th trading day of the year. I'm going to write it here, $2,000. As of today, I'm up $315,000 on the year. 6 months into the year. That's crazy. I've never had this good of a start to a year. Right now, I'm tracking for, well, $630,000. Remember, I needed to make $665,000 by the end of December in order to break $1 million in the account that I started January 1st, 2017, 18 months ago, with under 600 bucks. So from 600 bucks to $1 million in 2 years, can it be done? The next 6 months will tell us. But you know, this month of June is pretty crazy. Started with that big red day. It was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago today. Started with that big red day. Really disappointing. It got me into the hole. Had to spend the rest of, the next 2 weeks digging myself out of the hole. And then the last 2 weeks have just been profit. I mean, $47,000 in 2 weeks. Really nice. So, you know, life is good. It's been a great month, up $37,000. I'm happy with that. And we're going to keep it going, keep the momentum alive, keep it going into July. Hopefully we see this, this hot streak continue. Today, no reason to think it won't. GBR went from $1.60 to $4.50. So we are still seeing some crazy momentum. So for all of you guys that are studying, that are in the classes, that are trying to learn how to trade, this is the time to study hard because we've got this window right now of opportunity, of momentum, and you want to capitalize on it as much as you can because once it closes, well, then we might have 2-3 weeks of slow trading where we just got to sit on our hands and just got to be kind of making do with smaller profits until things open up again. So that's the way the market goes. It's the ebb and the flow, the ups and the downs. You just got to roll with it. So remember what I said a couple weeks ago. You got to trade based on the market that you're in today, not the market that you want to be in. So when it's a slow market, you got to just be able to sit tight and go easy, knowing that you'll get to the other side, and when it gets there, it'll be awesome. All right, so that's it for me. Enjoy the recap today. Any questions, any comments, leave them below. I'm going to come through over the weekend and answer every single one of them. All right, I'll see you guys back here Monday morning, 9:15 for pre-market analysis. All right, everyone, so here we are. It is the last day of June. This has been a pretty crazy month. Some big ups, some big downs. In the last 2 weeks, I've been on a hot streak that has given me $47,530.94 of profit and another $2,000 today. So, the last 2 weeks have been awesome, but the first 2 weeks of June were really tricky. So that's kind of the way it goes. In May, I finished with, $75,000 of profit. And it really all came in the first 3 weeks. And then the last 2 weeks were kind of slow. So we basically had almost a month of sort of slow trading from the middle of May through the middle of June. And then, it's picked back up. And today we've seen a couple of really impressive moves. So those of you guys that were in our workshop yesterday, thank you so much. That was a lot of fun. We were able to answer a lot of questions, and I hope open your eyes to the opportunity that we see every single day in the market. Today's another day. I told you guys about how my big discovery learning to trade was that every single day there's a stock that moves 20 to 30%. Well, today, no exception. So the big mover today, GBR. This is a stock that right now is up 89%. It didn't just go up 20 or 30%. It's up a full 89%. On this one, I've got about $800 of profit. I didn't, get a home run on it, but I made some money. So, this is another solid day of trading. Now, early next week, we'll do a whole June in review type of session when I've got my broker statements from my broker, and when I've got all the trades from today imported, and we can look at the metrics. We can look at my profit loss ratio, my percentage of success, all of those things. But For right now, we can just kind of look at high level and look at the trades from this morning. So you can see GBR is still continuing. I'm not going to push my luck on it. I found that it was just a very honestly a surprising move. This thing went from $1.60, and when it first started popping up, I was like, no, I don't think I'm interested, guys, because here's the deal. Yesterday it was so weak, right? Look at yesterday. It made this big move pre-market, and then once the bell rang, it just totally sold off. It dropped like 50%. So when I saw it popping up initially, I just sort of thought, well, maybe it's a little bit of a relief bounce, a little bounce off the low. I don't think it's really going to do that much, and then next thing you know, it's at 240. I first get in at 240 right here. This is my first entry on GBR. We'll just talk about this one first since it's, really been the big mover today. So my first entry was at 240. So let me just scroll up on GBR here. This is my first entry, 239, and then adding it actually at 244. And that was right in, this area right here. So I got in, it pops up at 245. I'm in with 7,500 shares, and then it drops all the way to 225. So I'm down over $1,000 on it. And I'm just like, dang it, this thing, it faked me out. And I've been faked out already a couple of times today. So when it came back up, I was trying to basically get out break even. 39, 38, right? Trying to minimize the loss. So from being down 1,000, I ended up closing the trade down about $170. So I lost $170 on the first trade on GBR. And I just sort of thought, you know what, this thing's choppy, it's a pain. I don't know. And next thing you know, it goes up to 260. And right at 260, we saw this big seller sitting there, holding it down. Finally, it breaks over 260, it hits 270, and then it flushes back here down to 245. And so I just sort of thought, you know what? I don't know if this one has a lot of potential. I'll just keep it on watch. And then right here, as it started to open back up, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back in this one. So I get back in at 278. I add at 285. I add more at 295. And I add another 2,500 shares at $2.99 for the break over $3. It breaks 3, not as convincing of a break as I was hoping. And look at GBR now. You can see it's continuing. So it breaks 3, not as convincing as I was hoping. And then I sell at $3. Try to sell at 304. I don't get filled. And so I basically sell the whole thing at 304, and 284. But this was the place where we finally started to take off. And then you can see it dropped all the way back down to 273. So then it comes down, and then just here in the last few minutes, it curled up back to 240, dropped on this candle to 340, dropped on this candle all the way back down to 3, and then it's just popped up here. So we're seeing a lot of this chop where it's popping up and fading, and for me, it's not been the easiest one to trade. So I'm quite happy with the $800 that I have in profit on that one. So that was GBR. Wasn't expecting it at all. It's now up 100%. All right. So, this is just goes to show that when you have a stock that moves 100%, what you have is a big window. This is what we call a window of opportunity. And even if you only capture small pieces of it, because the window is so big, those small pieces can add up to a lot of profit. And so I've got $888, and I'm happy with that. But this one has actually only been halted once today. I was expecting more circuit breaker halts given this move, but the fact that it was only halted once shows that the way it's moved has kind of been this grinding pattern, up and down, up and down, up and down, and not big, clean breakouts, really except for maybe 2. So that was GBR. Off our watch list this morning, I had VVPR on watch. Now, this one we were watching for a gap and go, but I had said that I was a little iffy about it because it had sold off a little bit versus the pre-market highs. So VVPR was the first one that I got into. I'm just going to turn this down so it doesn't distract me. So VVPR was the first one that I got into. Excuse me. I was anticipating basically just a break of $3. The bell rings, and I got in at $3. Really, it was right at 3, the break of 3. I think I tried to get in a little earlier than that. I thought I was in at 295, but in any case, I guess I was in at 3. It pops up to a high of 330. I sell at 308, I add back at 310, add back more at 312. I'm selling 313, 312. It didn't really open up as much as I wanted. I then added at 318, sold at 324, sold the rest at 311. So, it's kind of one of those, I guess I sold a little bit at 332. So it's kind of one of those ones where I buy and I sell. And then it pops back up and I buy again and then I sell. And then I buy again and I sell. So what I'm doing there is I'm scalping the little breaks over half dollars, whole dollars, over nickels and dimes, expecting pretty much an immediate resolution. This is the way I've been trading for the last, maybe 2 weeks, where we've been seeing these stocks move so quickly. I get in, I get profit, I get out. I get back in, I get profit, I get out. And so I just keep doing that. And on this one, I was holding a core position until I finally sold the rest of it at, 317. So VVPR made $500 profit, not a big win. Really didn't hold up very well. It ended up dropping and, isn't really looking that great now, but was worth a stab. It kind of double topped against the pre-market high. So a little tricky there. Next one down was FRD, also on the watch list. And this one, I was kind of bummed on it because I jumped in it pretty high. All of a sudden I see it and it's taking off. Like, we were watching it at $8 and next thing you know, it's at $9.50. And so I was like, all right, this thing looks interesting. So I tried to get in a little bit smaller size, 1,500 shares, but I tried to buy 4,500 shares total at $9.54. I only filled 260. So I tried to get in there. It only filled 260. It pops up to 1022, and I had my orders ready to add, and so I decided to add at 989 and 998. But again, only getting partial fills. It then pops up. It breaks over the whole dollar, and as always, I try to sell on the other side of it, scaling out 1021, and then I ended up selling the rest at 999 and 951 as it came back down. So it just really didn't hold up very well. It's pretty disappointing, actually. You can see it kind of curled around here, but overall, it was weak. Now, this one had a catalyst. It was fourth quarter earnings, which was great. It made this really nice move from $8 to $10, but I really only captured the very top of it. Again, when you have a window that's that big, even if you do only capture a small amount of it, because the window's so big, those small amounts certainly add up. So FRD, kind of disappointing there. And one of the things that I really encourage you guys to do is you want to find your entry point and take profit when you have it. That's what I always do. So I get in, and a lot of times, as soon as I get in and I'm up 10, 15 cents, I'm going to take some profit. That's the thing to do, take a little profit. And then I'm going to look and decide, okay, where can I add back, or where I'm going to stop out of the rest of it. So I'll get in, I'll take a little profit, and then look for the opportunity to add back. So on VVPR, I get in, I take a little profit as it breaks over the whole dollar. It then shows strength, so I add back at 310. It pops up over 310, I sell some at I guess in this case 313. I then add back at 318, right? So I keep adding and selling, And what that type of trading is it's scalp trading. It's getting small win here, small win there, and over time those add up. Now another strategy is to trade purely on 5-minute time frames. The problem with this, in this case, you could have gotten in at 3 and maybe still been holding it on a 5-minute pattern. The only problem with this is that your hold time is longer. And so with a longer hold time comes more risk because you've got exposure risk. And of course, here with an entry at 290 and a stop at 265, there are a lot of times where this might pop to 310, which is a 10-cent winner, and then come all the way back down. So for me, the way I trade, I'm going to take the profit at 310, and then if it comes back down, I'll sell the rest break even, and I still have a winner on the name. And if it goes up even further, well, I'll add back, and I'll add back, and I'll add back, and I just keep doing that until, next thing you know, it's at whatever it is, $4. So this is just 7.2 million shares of volume, 120%. Big squeeze there, 360 to 399. So 393 by $4 right now. 13,000 share seller on the ask. Want to see buyers coming in? It's now 4,000. There's a buyer. But here you go. This is a hidden seller. That right there is what we call a hidden seller because it only is showing 100 shares. And obviously, more than 100 shares of volume just went through. So that's someone doing an iceberg order where they're doing, maybe they're selling 250,000 shares, but they're only showing, or 25,000, whatever, but they're only showing 100. So what they're showing versus what they actually are selling. And it's a funny thing the way you can do that, but you can, and some people do, especially if they're trying to either unload a position or take a short position. Those are sort of the two examples where we see that. GBR is going to be a stock where I'm going to have to say, yeah, I left money on the table, but I'm a guy walking away today with $2,000 of profit, and you got to know when to walk away. And if you're greedy and you always try to go back for more and more and more, eventually, you're going to get your hand slapped by the market, and that's what has happened to me many times. Now, PED, this was one that I got really frustrated on today. GBR, I just want to kind of see what it does here. So still showing, resistance at that whole $1.97. So someone tucks in under the ask a little bit, now 91. Someone tucks in a little bit lower. So people trying to sell here, it looks like, profit takers. PED, this one got me twice. Really annoying. My first entry on PED, let's see, was $2.85, $2.89, $3, $2.90. $3. So I take a pretty good sized position. My cost basis is $2.91 right here, and then it drops all the way to $2.57. Right? It does that big drop, and then it comes back up, and I basically sell it kind of as close to break even as I could, but I lost $1,000 on that first trade. It then curls back up, and I get back in it right here, thinking, okay, it's going to go again. I'm going to give it another shot. I get back in. Where was it? $2.95, and then it drops all the way back down to $2.80 and then $2.60. So it got me twice. Lost $1,000 twice on this one. Really frustrating. I mean, that kind of thing can really frustrate you. And with that, I went from being up 1,000 on the day to being down about 800 on the day. The $1,000 was on FRD and VVPR 1,100, and then I lost 2,000 on that. Couple small trades on RADA, not very exciting there. The stock just couldn't really hold up. I got in at 304, stopped out on this candle as it dropped back down, and now it's actually curled back up. So that one's whatever. $170 loss on that. DFBG, this is one that was in play a couple days ago. I took a stab at it at, let's see, the high was 471. I got in at 466 right here. It popped up to a high of 489, but it couldn't break that whole $1.05. I ended up stopping out as it came back down. So a little bit of profit on that, $800, 7,500 shares, 10 cents, 12 cents. That's enough to put a winner on the P&L. And then let's see, ABIL. This is another one that I was looking at this on a daily chart. This is a daily bull flag. It's the first daily candle to make a new high. And again, if you held this flag pattern, your entry would be right here, and you'd actually still be holding because it hasn't broken the low of the previous day. But the reality is I can't afford to hold that long. So I got in this. I took 2 trades on it. One trade out of the gates, getting in here for the break of $8. This one didn't hold up at all, and it came back down. I then got back in at 8. Where was it? No, sorry. My first entry was at 8 right here. I got in at 8 right here. It pops up to a high of 834. Doesn't hold up, and I stop as it comes back down. I got back in right here at 875. It pops up to $9, and I sold this at $8.99. I was like, I'm getting out of this. I'm taking my profit. So I ended up making money back on ABIL. But it was a little choppy. So one trade here and one trade here, and now it's kind of chopped out. So a little bit disappointing today in general. I've got 2, 4, 5. I've got a number of stocks I traded, but we just didn't see really good follow through. So you know what? $2,000. I'm happy with that. GBR, for those of you that are still trading, this is making a big move. I'm just surprised because there's no news, and yesterday it was so weak. So I really don't know the rationale for this, but remember, the market can be irrational, and you just got to trade those chart patterns. It's all about the technicals at this point. So anyways, great job for those of you that made some money today. I'm finishing the month up about $37,000. I started in the red for the very first day of June, lost 16 grand, and had to spend the rest of the month digging myself out. Got myself out of the hole, and I'm now up $37,000 on the month. that puts me up $315,000 on the year 6 months in. All right, so 6 months into the year, $315,000. That puts me tracking for 630 grand. That would be a great year. I'm sitting at 652,000 in my account that I started with $583 about 18 months ago. So pretty exciting there. You can see the trade count here: 87 trades, 140,000 shares traded. Still trading with pretty big size, being a little bit more aggressive. And it seems like that's the thing to do. But yeah, it's been it's been a great 2 weeks. But we'll see how July plays out. First week of July, with 4th of July, might be a little bit slow. Some traders who take the holiday take the whole week off, things like that. All right, so commissions today are going to be around $400 most likely. A lot of shares traded, a lot of executions, but that's okay. Green is good. That's what counts. All right, so another green day, and we'll do our full recap of the month of June early next week. All right, everyone, so I hope you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here first thing Monday morning, 9:15 for pre-market analysis. All right, those of you guys that are just joining the classes, getting into it, study up this weekend. The market's hot. Hopefully next week will be pretty good too, and make sure you want to really be up to speed with the patterns we're trading and the entries, the exits, and everything else. So get into those classes, have fun, and I'll see you all back here first thing on Monday morning. All right, see you guys Monday. If you're still watching, you must have really enjoyed that video. So why not subscribe and get email alerts anytime I upload new content? Remember, when you subscribe, you become a member of the Warrior Trading family.